Okay, so before we start, let me explain why I'm filming it this way instead of doing one of those screen capture videos like you would with live stream. When I use those, I guess maybe because my computer is old or just not as powerful as some others, it lags my whole computer so badly that I can't even get like a smooth line. So I don't like to do that, and I'm less likely to do process videos if I have to fight that element of it. So we're going to do it this way. Now what I forgot to film after I set up the camera and I left it here and I forgot to press record, I take these boxes here. I have a file with just the boxes. I take the boxes. They have the janky lines that I like that makes it look kind of more hand done and authentic. Then I take whatever text I know I'm going to include that doesn't need to be inside the frame, and I put that up, set that up easily right from the beginning. Okay, then I do armature, which again I forgot to show you the process, but you get the general idea. And I usually do the sketches right over top of the armature until I get to about this stage. Then I would make the armature layer invisible. So here you see really light sketching where I'm really starting to commit to where the lines go. Okay, so here we go. I have to minimize it. I never remember what width to use. Let me minimize. Let's see. I really do have to work on making my lines thinner because I realized that looking at my comic that the lines are so thick it kind of overpowers it. You can have thick lines if you have really stylized, simplistic style, but once you start getting into more details, I feel like you should use the thinner brushes. I just really like using the thick ones because they're fun. I don't have a real reason for that. See, this is why I like the thicker brushes. The thinner brushes really call attention to every single mistake, and the thicker brushes really disguise that. The thin brushes really, they just, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, it's very obvious. I'm thinking if I can get the burger to be in front of the mouth, I don't have to worry as much about what I'm doing. Oof. I don't know, man. This is, I give up on that side for now. And if you've got a brush that's got texture on it, all the better, because it will also help disguise the fact that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I definitely don't think that I do. You know, I'm really lucky if I can get people drawn in one shot, because I am forever fucking it up. Yeah, the people who can draw, like, I know, pretty much right out of the gate and they don't have to undo every half a second, like, that's wizardry, it's witchcraft, it's sorcery, I don't know, man, that's some magical shit. Those people are incredible. And I am definitely not one of them. Okay, so jaw lines are always a pain, so I'm going to avoid that for as long as possible. I also have not really looked at a cheeseburger in a very long time, so I don't exactly know what it's going to look like here, but we're going to give it the best shot that we can. I'm going to pretend that, like, it's the same exact thing. That's terrible. I'm going to pretend this is lettuce. That's what I want that to be, so that's what we're going to pretend it is. Oops. Good. Just give up. Okay, so. Oh, see, and here again, I've got another stolen edge. Ugh. That's the fucking worst. Okay. And, you know, I can do that thing that I do where I hit Command or Control Z over and over and over again. Ooh. Whoa, boob. Boobs are one thing. I just can't get a straight line on for whatever reason on the computer, or smooth or whatever. Like, I don't know. Give me paper and for some reason I can get a round edge, no problem. You get me on the computer and ask me to do the same thing and I just can't. I don't know what the hell is the problem, but it's something. Now we're going to start with some shading. What I do is I hop over here in the layers window. I put all my line work in one group. See, I have to have multiple lines, multiple layers for the things that are going to be quote animated. And then I put that all in one group, and then I start a new layer for shading, which I will set to multiply for now. But you'll notice that, like, I don't have ads on my page, and I don't sell merch. Those are the two ways that people can make money off of webcomics, and I do neither of them. There are some ads on my YouTube account. There was something that I wanted to do, and it wouldn't let me do it unless I enabled ads. And now I don't even remember what the thing was that I wanted to do. But that's why there are ads on YouTube. So I did it just enough to get away with what I wanted to do, and then I moved on. As is usually the case for most of the things that I like to do. Okay, so that's shading, really. That's how I do the shading. Okay, and now that the shading is done, I did some tweaking. I don't think you saw me do the burger. I did it the same way, and I do everything else, so it shouldn't be any kind of news to you. This is pretty much what I'm comfortable with in terms of the shading. It's very simple. There's obviously not like a real consistent light source. I usually darken anything that goes farther away from what we would consider the lens, right? So that's why this part of her face is darker on this side, but here, where the camera is supposedly like in the same spot, if it were a picture, this side is darker. That's why. Anything that's farther, that's what I darken. That's it. It's not consistent, but it is what it is, and you know, you're here for that, so whatever. Okay, so now I take the shading layer that's set to multiply, remember, then I make a new layer beneath it, then I make the shading layer invisible, then I whip out our old magic wand friend, right, and oh, I have it. You want to set it to contiguous, or however you pronounce that, and you know, just select the area that you're gonna color in. Boop, 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 boop. I like to keep these as simple as possible in terms of the number of colors that they have. So let's say that, let's say I've got white, right, and then I've got the mid-tone gray that I just used for shading, okay, and then there's always black, of course. So then I want something that's between the black and the gray. Right? And then I want something that's between the gray and the white. So that's going to be my palette, right? We can label that palette if we want. So that's really what I do in terms of that. Yeah, we'll just keep that. I'll lock it so I don't draw on it, but you don't need to see it right now. So I'm going to stick with the mid-tone, I think. Okay, and I select, oh, I have to change it. Okay, so we've selected the jacket. Select, modify, expand, 3. Because my line, the brush width was 9. right? So if I expand by 3 pixels, I'm not going to have too much overlap. So then let's see what the shade looks like on top of that. That's good, I like that. And let's see how close that is to our palette. That's pretty close, right? It stays in that palette. So boom, done, next. So then I can take here, take shading again, I make it invisible, deselect, oops, that palette. Okay, hair, and you know what, I'll make this top too. Top. Select, modify, expand, 3, done, paint. Let's check what that looks like. That looks pretty good. I like it. I liked her hair better, or my hair better, in the comic when it was all black, but it's not really an accurate representation of what I look like right now. So I'm not going to let that ruin my day. It's really what it amounts to. Okay, so switch our palettes here. I want, oops, put the palette up top now. I want to get this, oh, I'm going to get that down here. I have to color this in. Whoops. See, I've darkened it up a lot because I really, that's inside. It should be very dark. Now I want to use, let's see, make that visible. Burger meat is usually pretty dark. Well, mine is. I like my burger to be seared on the outside and red, almost red on the inside. I already forgot what I was doing. Select. There's probably a hotkey for this that I don't know of. Modify, expand. Because there's a hotkey for everything, apparently, that I just don't know of. Okay, I like that. That's a good look for the burger. Okay, see, now we get into the area where, like, I'm going to have to manually color stuff in, which is fine. It's not like it's that hard. It's just, it takes more time than, you know, the autofill. The appeal to manually coloring it is if you have a textured brush, then, you know, you're going to get a more textured color in area. You can also use textures after the fact, which is a thing that I sometimes do. You know, that's a really plausible burger, and I don't think I want to add too much to it. I think I'm going to stick with that. Now, see, the shading for the face is still really, really dark, and I'm not pleased with how that came out. So, what I'm going to do, if you'll bear with me, let's make the palette invisible and get it out of here. Shading. All right, so we'll select all the skin, right? Can I get that tiny thing? Select, modify, expand, 3 pixels. That should pretty much do it. Okay, so I have that shading layer. I'm going to copy it. The original shading layer I'm going to delete. I'm going to select inverse and then delete. Okay, so now this should be all the skin layer. Okay. Remember I said I didn't like it, it was too dark. So I just bumped down the opacity of it. 50. See how it looks when it's colored in. Pretty good, right? So, yeah, I like that. It works. It's really simple and easy. Alright, so we're on the second frame where the hand is going to go from closed to flicking the little hair. What I did over here in the layers panel is I put all my line for the non-moving parts in one layer, or in one group, and then all the shade and color for the non-moving parts in another group. Then I'm going to put both of those in a group together. I'm going to call it non-moving. Okay, now that's out of my way. Then I pulled out of the line layer, I pulled the hand that's going to move in frame 3 and the hands for frame 2 the closed one and the open one out. So that's what we have here. Now I'm going to color in the first hand from frame 2. Put that in its own folder called frame 2 first hand. So now I'm going to make a new layer, make sure it's underneath, and I'm going to shade. I don't remember the color that I used for shading, so let me look at, okay, so that's what I used for shading down here, right? And while I'm at it, let me do something here. X, white, okay, just patch that up because I can see that there's a crease. Okay, so we close that down, boom, let's make non-moving invisible. Okay, so the first layer underneath the hand I'm going to call white. And I misspelled white because I'm an infant and I don't know how to spell. Okay, so there we go. White. Now I'm making this line, which will probably barely show up in the video, just to delineate the end of the hand. Okay. And grab my magic wand. Select. Okay, select, modify, expand. Still go with 3 because that's been working pretty well for us. And then the paint bucket. Okay, and we're going to touch up the edges. Right? Yeah, I'll go ahead and color in all these lines too, because why not? This doesn't really matter if the background behind the thing is white because it's not going to show up. I just do it for my own sanity. So then we go ahead and I make a new layer. I'm going to make it a clipping mask over the white, and we'll call this shade, right? And I already selected the gray that I'm going to shade with. Let me change my brush over to that soft oil pastel. And now I have to look at the non-moving parts to see where the shadow ends. Okay, so it ends there. Oops. Alright, so we go ahead and continue the shadow. It's pretty simple. I'm back to shading like I was, right? Nothing about this is really so complicated. You just have to be able to think about what it's going to do when you open it up in Image Ready. And it's not too hard. Once you've used Image Ready once or twice, you kind of understand what you need to allow for, you know, what things you need to provide are going to happen. And when you do that, it becomes incredibly simple. That's why I don't like to call this animation, because people who really animate have to do a lot more work and it's a lot more thought, and it's much more difficult than what I do. So this is not real animation. This is just getting a jife. If you're watching this video and you didn't watch the previous video and you don't watch Idea Channel, then you're going to think I'm a real idiot and not understand why I just said jife. But, I mean, that's what you get for not watching the other video. Or frankly, Idea Channel either. Idea Channel is a really cool channel. I don't always agree with like the theme of the video or the point that they're trying to make, and I really hate how that shade is going right there, but anyway, I don't always agree with the video or the thought that they're presenting, but it's nice to see people thinking about the media that they consume. Okay, so that's the first hand. We'll go ahead and fix this little, I'm not wild about that, right? That's good enough. Okay, so hand 1 for frame 2. Okay, now I'm going to make a new group. Frame 2, second hand. Same basic thing, make that one invisible. Oh, I gotta line this up too, so first I'm gonna move it above. Because I want this to be pretty much in line right? I'll take the center point and move it there. That's where I'm going to pivot it off of. Yeah, that's good. See? Right there. Boom. Like it? Good. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so now I can take it and put it underneath, and I can make the first hand invisible. Okay, so we do it the same way. You see I put these locks here. I made it so I don't accidentally brush the wrong layer, because Photoshop is infamous for making it very easy for you to brush the wrong layer. If you're modifying a layer and then you start a new layer and the first brush stroke you make isn't something you like and you hit Control Z, it'll revert back to the layer that you were moving. And when it does that, you cannot notice and then spend the next half hour working in the wrong layer. So to alleviate that, anytime I'm sure I don't want to draw on a layer anymore, I just whip that up and put the little lock on there and it's problem solved. I hope you can't hear the music I'm playing because I really don't want to sit in complete silence, but I also don't want to deal with YouTube telling me that I need a license to play you music, because I'm not really trying to play you music, I'm just trying to hear music while I'm making the video. Okay, so I'm just touching up the finger here. Now that's all shaded, right? Nice and simple. Took us 10 minutes to do 2 hands, not bad, right? Okay, second hand. This doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing, it's just like my mind wanders sometimes. And I was thinking about that recent movie with Jeremy Renner in it. Was it the Hansel and Gretel thing? Have any of you actually seen that? I didn't see it. My better judgment said that it was not going to be worth any effort or time. But I don't know why, it just was kind of popping into my head and I was thinking about it. Like literally just now. So, have you guys seen that? Is it good? Is it worth watching? I mean, my best guess was no, so I didn't bother watching it, obviously. But, I'm open to your opinions. Don't lie to me to make me watch a shitty movie, though. That would kind of piss me off. If you haven't watched it and you don't legitimately think it's good, don't suggest it. I'm not saying, like, if you like a movie that's bad and then you suggest it and I hate it, that I would be pissed. Just, I would be pissed if you told me you watched it and liked it even though you thought it was terrible. That would bum me out. So please, if you thought it was good, legitimately, let me know. 'Cause I think... Okay, so we have... I put a new layer. I'm back in the non-moving group. Underneath the line and above the shade and color group, we'll make this... If I'm working in color, I'll make it overlay. But if I'm not working in color, then it almost doesn't matter. I know that sounds pretty terrible. I'll go with white. I'm going to go with that brush that Charlie Bowater told me about. This one. And I'm pressing lightly. Alright, so you see how that goes. That looks pretty nice. Then we'll go with erase. And I go to one of these. I just want it to be soft. Then we can make it bigger. And I bump the opacity down just a little bit. And then, just because I like the inside edge to just fade in. Right? I don't know why exactly I do, but I do. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? Then we go with the eraser. I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna go the hard round taper for the eraser. And I just do some random, where do I think this might look nice, and then I do different thicknesses and closenesses. I don't know. Okay. Now I also go for one of these again over here. Size, hardness down to 0. I set the opacity of this layer pretty low, and I usually end up lowering it even more. This is for highlights, to give things a rounded appearance. So her shoulder is round, shoulder is round, shoulder is round, shoulder is round. Okay, this is where it gets hazy because it goes behind. So then I have to pop over to my eraser, which is hopefully the hard round taper. Okay, so I erased where it would have been in the way. My skin is white, so it doesn't really matter if I do this, so I don't do it on the skin. If I were to do the skin in any color darker than white, then I absolutely would still do this. But since I don't, it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't like that back there. How about... yeah, that works. And then... it gives this kind of a 3D rendered effect if I do it like this. Not like a, I don't want to sound like, oh look, it looks like it's highly 3D rendered. Like, I mean, it gives it just a slight touch of depth if I do this. It doesn't make it look like I sculpted it in the computer or whatever. It just gives it a slight bump. The gradation, I guess. It's nice. It's a nice little effect. Okay, so I'm going to bump it down to, I think, about 25. And then I'm going to do black. I'm going to do the same thing. Bump it way down. Probably about 15 to start, and then as I go, I'll decide. Did you guys ever watch that movie, like Beethoven? It had like the Saint Bernards in it. I don't have a reason that was in my mind. It just was, so I thought I'd ask. Okay, so now the important thing is turn that off. Let's select all of the clear, all the area that's still clear. Select, modify, expand, 3 pixels. Now I hop over to all those highlights I did, and I make sure that I delete everything that's on the clear areas, which is, at this point, should be everything that's not her body. It looks terrible in the beginning, so bear with me. Okay, so we hop over to some white. New layer, by the way. over to our eraser and get that hard round taper. Do the same basic thing that we did with our hair, right? Sometimes I never do this. Sometimes I fuck around and then I'm like, oh, I forgot to do that. And that's okay. So then on top of the line, we put in highlight there as well. This one I'm going to actually curve down. Okay, that's pretty good. Label the layer. No, I don't want it. Okay. Highlights, we'll call it. And then with this gray we have... Oh, that was my elbow, I promise. It was not my butt. I was not farting. Okay, so go to this gray. We'll go to multiply. Oh, shit. Kind of dumb sometimes. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so line it up a little bit. It looks okay. Okay, so now we're in Image Ready, and what is involved with that is you save the file as a Photoshop file, then you open Image Ready, and then you open the file. I merged as many of the layers as possible. Anything that was beneath the hands is pretty much one layer, and everything that's above that is pretty much another. So here we have top and the bottom, okay, and these are the hands. So pretty simple, right? Not visible, okay? New layer. This one's like that. Okay. Give this, wait 1 second. New layer. I'm gonna duplicate it because I know it's gonna cause me problems. I'm gonna move it and rotate it. Okay, and then I'll do a new layer. Duplicate this again because I know it's going to give me problems. Okay, let's play it through. Oh, I have to do it forever, right? Play. Fuck. This is going to give me problems again. God, that's so fucking irritating. Damn. Alright, and this one, and then this one, okay. Better, okay. So, there you go. Okay, stop. Other. 0.3. Okay, so then we go File, Save As. No, that's not it. Let me think for a second. File. Yeah, maybe it is Save As. It's been a while. Alright, Save As. Nope, that's not it. Oh, shit. Image size. Let's bump it down. I've got it up to 3,000 pixels, so I don't need it that big. We're going to put it down to 750. Okay. That's pretty good still. Let's make sure it plays alright still. Okay, fine. Image. Save optimized as. See, it's been so long since I've done it, I actually forgot. Okay, images only. Save. Okay, so that's the top half. The reason I separated it is this animation has its own time, while the animation for the bottom, the third panel, the bottom left, will have a different time as well. So they have different speeds to play out, so I wanted to make them on separate. So that one's done. Hopefully it's okay. We're also gonna save as just in case, right? Close.